Hello, pre-calculus students. Today I'd like to do in this lesson the world's quickest review of some topics from algebra. So let's take a look at the screen here. First is the distance formula. I have point P1 that has these coordinates. I have point P2 that has these coordinates. What is this distance D between them? Well, because they're rectangular coordinates, we can drop a vertical from this point and a horizontal from this point, and we can come up with these coordinates for this point. This point has the same x coordinate as P1 and the same y coordinate as P2. So now we have a triangle and we can use the distance formula. So I need to know this distance and this distance. Well, this distance is just the y values are the same, so there's no change in y. So the distance is just the distance between x1 and x2. You can do x2 minus x1 or x1 minus x2 because when you take the absolute value, you're going to get a positive number anyway. Same here for y1 and y2. Forget this distance. And what we end up with is this distance formula in 2 dimensions. Again, it doesn't matter if you go x1 minus x2 or x2 minus x1, because when you square it, the answer is going to be positive. It obviously matters if you are finding the slope of a line, which ones you subtract, but if you're just finding the distance, it doesn't matter. The midpoint formula allows us to find the coordinates of the midpoint of a segment. So here's a point with coordinates x1, y1, and point 2 here with coordinates x2, y2. To find the x coordinate of the midpoint, if we want this point halfway between these two, we just average the two x values, and that's the x coordinate of the midpoint. We average the two y values, and that's the y coordinate of the midpoint. So these two expressions represent the midpoint formula. If we're translating points in a plane, if we want to translate this triangle 3 units to the right, how do the coordinates of the vertices change? Well, if you want to go 3 units to the right, all the x values are going to be increased by 3. And we'll learn later that that means you have to replace x with x minus 3 to go 3 units to the right. If we want to go 3 units to the left, all of these x coordinates would be shifted 3 units to the left. And we'll learn that that's going to be replacing x in an equation with x plus 3 or x minus negative 3. To translate it 2 units up, all of the y values would be increased by 2, which would be replace y with y minus 2. And then if we want to replace or translate it, triangle 3 units right and 2 units up, well, all the x's would be increased by 3 and all the y's would be increased by 2. Let me unshare this. Awesome. So I told you that that was going to be the world's quickest review. Was I right? Because we're done now. Have a great day.